Sounding pretty good. How do I sound?
You sound good.
I've had a bad cold. I should have a better voice today. I sound like Wolfman Jack this weekend, but no one knows who the hell that is.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's true.
They don't. All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
On this episode of the John1911 Podcast, is Big Army going 6'8"? Century looking for AK redemption. SIG makes a Metal P320, and Abe Lincoln was killed by a time traveler.
All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Marky and Freeze, and this is episode 110 of the John1911 Podcast. How's it going, Freeze?
It's going good.
That's good. We're getting a late start today. It's 9:47.
Yeah.
I don't have my first cup of coffee at 9:47. That's awful.
Ooh, man, I'm like on my, I don't know. I can't even tell you how many cups I've had.
Yeah. Normally I'm the same, but I didn't have anything in the armory, so I had to drink some of my I call it crack. I had to drink some of my crack I use when I'm working out. So is it Speed Stack? So if you're a gym rat, you know what Speed Stack is. I had Speed Stack this morning. So, well, I guess we better quit chit chatting. We got so much to talk about. Holy shit! I don't even know where to begin. Where do you want to begin?
Man, I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about something fun. And it's gun,
Okay.
and it's fun. We don't have to talk about all this nasty shit in the news. So the big press release got rolled out yesterday, and Century has decided they want some AK-47 redemption. They have come out with a new rifle that they are calling the VSKA, which I believe stands for Vermont Stamped Kalashnikov America. Is that right?
Yeah, Vermont. Yeah, Vermont.
But they say Vermont in Russian or something like what? Well,
it's pronounced. The pronunciation's like VSKA or something like that. But VSKA stands for like Vermont Stamped Kalashnikov, whatever.
You know, their senator up there is a communist. Bernie Sanders is the senator from Vermont. I wonder if he would approve of the VSKA stamp.
Well, I mean, basically, he sure would, because he's pretty much a communist anyway.
Dude, you know, he actually went on his honeymoon in Russia when he got married.
No,
I didn't. Soviet Union when he was married.
No, I totally didn't know that, but hey, no shocker there.
Do you remember a time in America, like 5 minutes ago, when if you were a communist and you went on your honeymoon in Soviet Russia, the idea that you would run for president would be you'd be a laughing stock.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, so we had a chance to briefly discuss this Century AK. Help me out here, because you're the big AK guy. Why is Century doing this?
Well, a lot of it has to do with, I think it's competition with Kalashnikov USA, personally. But look, the AK market is huge right now. Everyone loves AKs, but you can't get Russian ones in. I don't think you can't get Chinese AKs in. I mean, you have all this.
Can't get Chinese in.
You have all this Obama era, bans. Well, truth is, why not build a U.S. made AK that's better quality than com block stuff that you're not allowed to get in anymore? The market's there. It's a good move on their part. Now, the drawback is Century has a pretty checkered past with making firearms.
Oh my God.
Look, I'm not going to shit on Century. I mean, my favorite rifle is a VZ58, and it's a Century put together rifle, and it's a great rifle.
Shitting on Century as a gun company is no different if you're a 1911 guy and shitting on Kimber, because Kimber made the 1911 market in America. No, and these cool kids don't want to admit that. And here's the thing: all these military surplus guns that we get in this country, 90% of them you can thank Century.
Oh, man, over the past 25 years, I've bought hundreds of rifles from Century. Hundreds. I mean, they
Century
are the number one.
Yeah, it's a major company.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, and but they've had some turds out there. You know, again, I immediately default to the French Maz 4956 that they converted to 308, and those things were garbage.
You know, we have a 308 Moss 36 bolt gun we've never fired.
But you see now, and that's a Century conversion as well, by the way.
Absolutely, yeah.
But there's a big ass difference between a bolt gun and a semi-auto. And Century dropped the ball on the semi-auto.
Yeah, the gas system is where it's all fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but again, they've had some successes too now. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm not crapping on Century. I love Century as a company. I bought hundreds and hundreds of rifles from them in the past over the years. Matter of fact, like I said, one of my favorite rifle right now is the VZ58. It's a Century gun, you know, and it's phenomenal.
You know how many times I'll meet a younger gun owner, and if they have, say, like a VZ58, or they have some gun that was brought in, they don't realize that CAI on their gun is Century.
No, that doesn't shock me.
I always thought that was kind of like, wow, really, son?
Yeah, Century Arms International.
Yeah, CAI. Okay, so let's get into the weeds here a little bit. So, look, I actually have not personally owned an AK since during the ban. I had an SLR 95 that had a thumbhole stock.
Oh yeah, that was a Clinton AK.
Yeah, and I just, I was like, I don't want to fucking dick with this thing anymore. And I wasn't really a big AK guy. And so I sold it. And what's happened is I looked at the market. I guess now that people can chop those back down to having regular furniture, those SLR 95s apparently, I believe, are pretty desirable. Which,
well, the weird thing is on those SLR 95s is the frame was cut in a way that you couldn't put standard hardware on it. But since the Clinton era assault weapon ban is over, I believe there are companies making furniture that will actually work on them.
Yeah. My problem with the AK back then was, just being honest, the sights were shitty, the safety was shitty, the magazine reloads were pretty shitty, and it was just like, what the fuck am I dicking with this gun for? So I've never had, I haven't had an AK per se really since then. But now that we've got, things have changed, I'm a lot older, we're in a different place, all of us, and, we have this reference collection and we have this thing going on.
Sure.
I've always thought, we could use an actual AK. But, it's like, even a cheap one, a lot of them are just, like they come apart. They stretch, they peen, they crack, they come out of headspace. And I don't know. I just never, every time I look at it, I'm like, nah, never mind.
Well, I mean, see, I don't know. I disagree with you on I mean, look, I mean, I'm an AK fan, I mean, I always have been. But, and not all AKs are Yeah, I'm not saying not all AKs are equal. That's for damn sure. But the best AK-47 I've ever owned was a Polytech AK, and
Isn't that a Chinese gun?
Yeah, what it was is Polytech was a company out of Atlanta, Georgia. And what they did is they brought in all these Chinese Norinco AKs that were chopped up. The receivers were cut up. And then
that's a different animal. That's a parts kit with all the good parts in it.
Yeah, and they made their own receivers and they put these together. And I had an underfolder paratrooper AK that, oh man, I so wish I would have never sold that damn gun. But back when AKs were going for $300, I got $900 for this gun. Yeah, I mean, it was a very desirable gun. But this damn thing, I mean, was phenomenal. I mean, you couldn't hurt it. And I fired tens of thousands of rounds through this gun. And of course, this was when you could get 7.62 by 39 for, $80 a thousand.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm lying. You could get it for like $50 to $60 a thousand. I mean, it was cheap. Now, of course,
it didn't cost. You could buy a case of ammo and be like, today I practice bump fire and do the whole case.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, this was back in the 90s, and ammo was plentiful and it was cheap. And I mean, I'd buy 2, 3, 4 cases of 7.62 by 39 ammo from Century. I'd go out with my buddies. As a matter of fact, we'd go out to the Mitchell Range Farm, and I had, I don't know, 15, 20 mags. And the rule is anyone can shoot it, but you got to load your own mags, Yeah. Here's the ammo, here's the gun. You load up the mags. And I mean, actually, I got that gun so freaking hot. The leather tab on the sling that goes, the metal bracket that the metal tab on the sling slides through. I got that gun so hot, the leather on the sling caught fire and burned off.
Yeah.
I mean, we cut down trees with this gun. I mean, this thing was the best AK I've ever freaking owned. It was amazing. I love that gun, and you couldn't hurt it.
And see, I hear stories like that, and that's the problem is I'm not that invested in the AK as an idea. So what happens is, for a reference gun, look, some guns I can do a deep dive on. Some guns I'm just like, tell me what to fucking buy, give it to me, we'll put it on the fucking shelf. It's like, I don't want to get into the weeds and the nerds and the cool kids. Like this, this gun's got all American-ness and it fucking comes apart, or this is a parts kit and it's made perfectly, or this is a parts kit but it's fucked up. You don't want a parts kit from these guys. And, I want a gun that meets a certain standard. It's great. It'll hold its value. It'll hold up to use, and we can just pull it off the fucking shelf and just use it and put it back. And, the AK market, I don't really have that right now, unless I want to buy, I don't know, like something from, Jim Fuller. That rifle what's that Rifle Dynamics, whatever it's called. I'm saying? There's more guys. Again, the AK guys are all vomiting because there's like probably 3 or 4 of these companies, but you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
For those of us that aren't AKs, it's just not obvious to us what the fuck to do. And,
yeah,
a sub 800 AK that's actually supposedly as well built as a real Russian AK back in the day, that gets my interest.
Well, yeah, I mean, so they're claiming that it's got better steel, and I'm not going to go into a deep dive of everything that they're claiming the benefits of this are. But if what they're claiming is true, for MSRP on it's less than $800. It's like $7 something.
Street price will be $699.
Dude, seriously, if this gun functions and is even remotely as good as they're claiming, for that price, this gun's a winner. Now, I'm not claiming it a winner right now. I'm saying if it functions,
the
way they're claiming at the MSRP, and then you factor in street price, dude, this thing Yeah. Yeah. This is good to go.
This is an example of where, look, I shit on gun forums a lot, and I can, I'm not a big gear reviewer. We get asked to review gear all the time, but unless it's something we need, I don't really dig with it. But
yeah,
I told you when we were talking about this off pod, really the first thing came out of my mouth, I said, let that Rob Ski guy get a hold of it. Let him put 10, 12,000 rounds through it. Get the headspace and stuff out, get the calipers out, see where we're at. Because, I thought something was really interesting. In this press release that they made, they're talking about, Century's talking about that in consultation with, did they say the federal government in that press release? What did it say?
I don't remember if it was the federal government or the military. I want to think it was.
I don't think they said military, but it was implied. And so then what got me thinking was, I seem to recall there was an RFP out of either SOCOM or Big Army or somebody that wanted American-made AK to tolerable specs that they could make and sell and use for their their foreign partner program. You know what I mean? Like, we send a bunch of cops to we send a bunch of trainers over to stand up the Baghdadi police force. They all get fucking AKs. We can't get AKs from China. Now we can't get AKs from Russia. Let's fucking have some American goddamn AKs that actually fucking work.
Yeah, no, and I get that. I just, that part of the article.
Did Century bid on that contract and win it?
See, I don't know. And that's the part of the article I just kind of disregarded, because I'll be honest with you. I don't believe. What's that?
You thought it was bullshit?
Yeah, pretty much. Because okay, let's just say Century Arms says, hey, we're making this American AK. I don't think they have the manufacturing ability or the production facilities to produce enough of these American-made AKs for the U.S. government, be it the military or whoever. I think it's bullshit. I think they'll be lucky to be able to keep the supply from the average retail sale going. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and hell, who knows? They could open up a separate plant and start pumping these bad boys out. I mean, anything's possible. But I just, like I said, I read that and it's just like, yeah, whatever.
Okay. Well, I know there's let me search for it. VSKA AK. Where's the presser? Incorporating machined S7 tool steel. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Incorporating machined S7 tool steel for key components, Century's new Vermont stamped Kalashnikov stems from a Pentagon program that sparked efforts to refine production of American-made AK variants. Okay. Stems from a program. All right. I can see that. It debuted at last week's Red October Kalashnikov Championships in Hurricane, Utah. It's like a stamped receiver. Well, here's the thing. There's a couple of companies that in the U.S. that they're not known to the average gun community, but they specialize. You call it non-standard weapons. So, like, for example, let's say you are a company and you want to do logistics or contracting work for the Department of State in Iraq. And you want to get legal guns in Iraq as opposed to illegal guns that are undocumented on site. There are companies in the U.S. that are on the other side of the NFA, on the other, the post dealer, they're all post dealer samples. And, you can buy those guns, export them, and take them with you, and they're all non-standard guns. So there's companies in the U.S. that sell PKMs, AKs, they sell Dishkas, they sell RPGs, they sell like all kinds of this shit. And I don't know if they're sourcing a lot of it from over. They're not all making it. They're getting it from around the world and then they're sourcing it and then exporting it, and it's on paper. So I don't know if some of the issues with the politics are getting stuff in the middle. Some of this stuff, it's getting harder and harder politically to acquire it. But this press release basically doesn't say it's the gun. What it basically says is they may have made a gun to theoretically try for the contract. And just like how, the FN 509 didn't win the government pistol contract and the Glock 19X didn't win the government pistol contract. Well, this could be Century's AK that didn't win the AK contract. So this could be the Glock 19X of whatever. But it's interesting. I mean, just a basic AK. You know what? I'm looking at a picture of it. I see one thing that's different. You know how people will cut that notch in the safety so you can hold the bolt back?
Yes.
This has that.
Well,
that's not a bad upgrade.
No, not at all. It's actually a damn good upgrade.
Yeah. So you can hold the goddamn bolt back.
Well,
so, all right. Well, that was interesting. So, I thought that was cool and thought we would talk about it. Are you interested in getting one of those? If it works out?
As of today, no.
Okay.
But after the results come in, and look, I don't need to purchase a project, but
oh no.
But if the gun works out, I definitely would be interested in picking one up because I really like the price point. If all the claims they make turn out to be true and the gun functions, I can't see it being a bad AK especially for the price. I mean, it's like I said before, it's a winner if it works. And if it works, I don't want to be the first guy in line to buy one is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you go first, brother. Go call Rob Ski. You go first, brother.
Yeah, and when Rob gets one and he says this thing's the cat's meow, then I'll be in line.
All right. Okay.
That's kind of where I'm at.
I'm watching it. We'll keep an eye on it. It'll probably take it. Here's the thing. It'll take a year to figure out this thing's even worth it or not.
Oh, yeah.
Because, again, a lot of people that listen to this forum, this podcast, or even are in the gun community, no offense, y'all motherfuckers don't shoot much. So, some guy that buys one is like, I've had one for 6 months and it's fucking awesome. How many rounds you shot through it? Uh-huh.
Yeah, but you've only shot a couple hundred rounds through it, so big deal.
Even 1,000 rounds isn't a lot. So
yeah.
So all right, let's talk about something a little bit more serious. We had a pretty as a group. I'll choose my words very carefully here. So I knew it was eventually going to happen. So we've been putting this big ass facility in. For all this, everyone knows we're spending all this money on bulldozers pushing dirt around, and we've got, I've talked about it on video, but we haven't actually addressed it on pod. The range is, I'd say, about 90% done for the year. The range facilities, the new facilities we've been putting in.
Yeah,
and we can talk about some of that. Like right now, the rifle range. We only have a 600-yard rifle range. We could go farther, but means I either have to go higher with a tower, or I have to go through more hills. And right now, I'd rather go higher. One, because I've spent so much money pushing dirt that I don't want to go through any more hills. But the other thing is you're shooting farther, if you go higher, the angles help to make it a little bit safer. And so the way the property lays, I'd rather put a tower in. Well, here's the thing. It's October. We'd have to pour foundations. We don't even, our tower that we were sourcing is falling apart. I got tired of dicking with the guy because he basically kept upping the price.
Yeah, we talked about that on the last pod.
Did we? Okay. So
on the mobile pod that we did, and it's like, whatever.
Yeah. So here's where we're at now. I knew eventually look, we put this big facility out in this place. We never specifically put out the invite or even told anybody. We've been keeping it pretty close to the vest, but we knew as soon as this basically got out, every cop within a 25 or 30 mile radius is going to be all over that property, because it's going to be basically a cop range is what's going to happen. And we've always known this. And so basically a bunch of rumors started sloshing around the region that were, I haven't, you can imagine what the rumors were. Not that I've heard all these, but I've heard, there's been a lot of people that know that there's some boys up there putting in a lot of money for some kind of range. And it's like, it's going to be like the new Blackwater or some shit. And it's just like, holy fucking Christ. That's the last goddamn thing I want to do. So, so reached out first, what's the first thing you do? Look, I don't want to talk to the elected officials. I don't want to talk to any commissioners. I don't want to talk to any inspectors. The first people I want to talk to are the cops.
Exactly.
So that's exactly what I goddamn did. Is I inserted myself into all the law enforcement. I've got about half of them locked up in a good way. And
the last 2 weeks, you have been running around doing all this meet and greet stuff with people. I know it's been hectic for you, but
it's been hectic and stressful because, I have a history where I have gotten into huge zoning battles with people, and spent like $500,000 in legal fees. And it's like, you know what? I'm not doing that this time. I mean, look, if I want to come in and bring in the nuclear weapons, I can do that. But I basically would take a few hits, let it go, keep talking, make friends. Now we're all on the same page and everybody's really excited.
And I mean that everyone that listens to our podcast knows how I am. And
no offense, but I didn't let you anywhere near these motherfuckers.
I have been keeping a very low profile. I've been letting you deal with it, and you've been kind of filling me in on what's going on. And as you've been filling me in, I've been kind of just like, okay. And I've been keeping myself in check, and I've not been giving because, my first thought was, this is freaking bullshit. And then, it's a downward slippery slope from there because that's just the way I am. So I've just kept a real low profile and let you handle it and let you do what you do.
Because you're going to fucking argue us right in the middle of goddamn fucking court.
God,
and it's like, you know what?
I know. It's the truth, though. I would.
It is the truth. And it's like, none of this has to happen this way. I knew this was going to happen. I just been putting it off. This has taken longer than I planned. So long story short, make your cop friends. I've been in that sheriff's office like fucking a lot. So I'm all up and down in their fucking business. And so now we're all buddies. So what's ended up happening is, I was able to explain a lot of what's going on to the law enforcement. Law enforcement was able to privately tell elected officials, this is what's going on. This is what they're doing. This is who they are. This is what they're offering to us. They are offering services to us. And long story short, what started off contentious had a bunch of the elected people, had a bunch of the non-law enforcement people out on the property earlier this week. And it was a whole new fucking program. Long story short, one guy came out. He's like the big powwow whatever guy. He left with a job as a handyman on the property.
There you go.
Uh-huh. That's a lot cheaper than fucking suing everybody.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, So, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could go into a lot more detail, but it doesn't really matter. How to win friends and influence people. The good news is, generally speaking, everybody, once they kind of realize what's going on, it's been pretty interesting. Oh, did I tell you about the one guy This guy's an inspector dude. I'm not going to go into exactly, but so he's on the property, and I'm kind of showing him around. We've been here for 13 months, been doing this, so we started experiencing this, so we built this up, and then we did this and this, and kind of going around, kind of like how we got to where we got with the property, because it's not like, oh, we just randomly dropping shit in the property, like rifle pits, pistol pits, rifle ranges, berms, trails, towers, and all this shit. There's a method to the madness with the property.
Yeah.
So kind of I wanted to give him the story of how we've gotten to where we are today, because it's pretty important, because I think it shows how conscientious we are. So I'm showing him the short rifle range.
Okay.
Which is 500 yards.
Yeah.
And he's looking around and he's listening, and the edge has been taken off in about half hour, like everyone's got real friendly. And he looks at me and he goes, "This is like AK-47's range." And I'm playing it cool. I just kept my poker face on. Excuse me. Kept my poker face on. Counted 1,000, 2 1,000, and I said, "I don't know what that is." And he's like, "Oh, he's this guy on YouTube, and he shoots and stuff and whatever." And I let him talk for about 15 seconds, and I went, "Oh, you mean the tall guy on the internet that always looks at the camera and goes, 'Life is good'?" He was like, "Yeah." But what was interesting, I think, to our listeners, to me as well, that this guy's talking about AK-47 and YouTube and all this. These are not young men. Like, the one guy is a Vietnam vet that's all up in our business, and they're all up and down watching gun videos on YouTube. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't have even guessed.
Mm-hmm.
And
how long will it be before they start tuning into the podcasts?
Oh, they do not know about John1911
yet.
All they know is it's a range, and it's for us and cops. They don't know about any of the media, but that won't last. There's no way that we're going to be able to keep that. I mean, I look, I optimistically, I give it 2 years max. They'll figure it out.
Oh, it won't take 2 years to figure it out. But the important part is all the bullshit's out of the way before they
all the bullshit's out of the way.
Because now that everything's all good and everyone's friends and we're all slapping each other on the ass, when it does get out, it won't be that big of a deal.
Yeah. And actually, they're so smart, they've looked around and they're like, "You're going to expand over that way, aren't you?" And I'm like, we're not right now. It's not the right time because we've spent a ton of money, but I would be interested in acquiring that farm in the future. And it's like, well, that price just fucking went up, but you know what? At least we're there. It's whatever the price goes up is still cheaper than fucking being in goddamn court for fucking 3 years. So I wish I could convey to the listener how stressful this has been, because at the end of the day, I don't normally like to take meetings I don't know the outcome of. I'm pretty controlling like that. But, there were some moments when I'm literally like, I'm completely vulnerable to these people, and they could be complete yahoos, and this could get ugly. And it's just like, all right. I mean, like, we had a law firm in that state. I mean, we're ready to, like, the office, they're like, the lawyers were ready. They're like, we're going to come in and we're going to fucking start nuking these motherfuckers. And I'm like, everyone needs to chill the fuck out, because we weren't going to be able to find any lawyers locally. There were going to be no lawyers that were going to be able to, there might be, yeah.
No. There wouldn't have been any local lawyers that
you hire one lawyer locally if you can. You throw him or her a lot of money, so they're a friendly face in the courtroom and they know everybody. But we were going to bring in the outside law firm, and it was going to be and we were going to be like, even like the governor's office, like this was going to get fucking ugly. Yeah, and I was telling everybody, chill the fuck out and let me handle this.
And that's why I just basically stepped aside and kept my mouth shut, because, again, I am a burn the house down kind of guy.
Yeah. Fucking goddamn. Who's that guy? Genghis Khan fucking over here wants to fucking, you know, people think that was your worst, and it's like, nah, man, that wasn't his army. That was the fucking recon force. That motherfucker's coming back.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. So, but I'm glad it was handled, and it was handled well. And
you know what? I'm gonna say something that I'm of two minds of saying this, but this is the real world. And look, we keep it real, and people need to know this. I think, when they read the news or they watch things, political donations were made.
Mm-hmm. But they needed to be.
They needed to be.
I mean, they didn't have to be, but
no.
I mean,
but
look, they're going to influence friends. Influence people and make friends. Things like that have to be done, and that's just the real world.
And the reality is, once I got to know these people, and again, I'm keeping it real here. It's not like I'm doing business with like Hillary Clinton. I mean, they're not like terrible people. You get to know them, and we kind of like, I like this guy. I like this person. I like this woman. I say nice things about them. They say nice things about me. It's like Donald Trump talking about Rocket Man. It's a love affair. We fell in love with each other. Here's a check. Good luck in November.
Yeah.
And that's just the real world. I mean, it is. It caught this. This has cost so much money.
God, and the craziness about this is, you figure, okay, you go out and you buy a piece of property and you set up a shooting range. And that's fine. And we could have done that, and it would have been no bullshit. There would have been no crap involved. But when you start spending big bucks having tons of dirt moved around and hills cut out, that's a whole different ball game, because now everyone locally is like, okay, who are these guys that just bought up this piece of property, and now they know how much bulldozers cost, because they're all farmers and they all do this kind of shit.
We have the biggest bulldozer in the county.
Yeah, and so they're
spending so much money, they just simply can't believe it's not a big corporate commercial endeavor.
Exactly. They're like, there's no way two guys from
don't even say anything. Don't just
two guys just rolled in and bought this piece of property and are dumping this kind of money in it just so they can go out there and shoot their little 22 rifles. And truth be told, they're right.
It's the thing is, we're not opening up a gun school. And here's the thing, I've even wondered if some of the places that I used to work and associate with, I haven't reached out to them, but I have known that there's at least a few of them. I know this. They have always worried, because we had some issues when I left, because we had some problems. And they were legitimate problems, and they would be very embarrassing for these people if these problems ever got out in public. And these people, on one hand, they would say, there's no way Marky's ever going to open up a gun school. But on the other side, part of them are afraid Marky could open up a gun school, and he would make a serious run at us. Yeah. And the thing is, I don't even care about you guys. I don't mean that in a negative way, but that's not what we're doing here.
No. It's not. But if it was, we'd put a serious hurt on.
Yeah. I mean, well, here's the thing. After we all became friends, they all started telling me off the record, obviously, not like on the record, but off the record, if you want to get zoned as a, it's like a open up a business here, we could probably pull that off.
And you know what? That's kind of nice that was presented unofficially. Because that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're shooting for. But it's kind of nice to know that if down the road something like that would, if plans change, it'd be nice to know that it wouldn't be another major uphill battle.
Yeah, we had a friend. He was like, "Well, you think," he listens to the podcast, so he's going to hear this now. He was like, "Do you think we could have a class at your facility and have John Shrek McPhee come out and for a cops, probably for a cops only class?" And I'm basically right now like, no, we can't. We can't do it like that. Because that's money, and we're not running a gun school. And so, I'm not saying that the future couldn't change.
Yeah.
But, let's finish construction. Let's get the facility running. Let's everybody take a breather to get used to us. Let the local cops get their turn. They've already come out once already. And, we'll see what the future holds. I don't know. I have no desire to open up a gun school.
No.
But
okay, first off, like either one of us has that kind of time.
Well, but the thing is, from an investment standpoint, we've upgraded the property so much, it is entirely feasible that, let's say 20 years from now, I don't know, I drop dead from a fucking heart attack. This facility could be sold and turned into literally a school overnight. In 20 years from now, we're going to have so much shit on this property. It's a gun. It'll be the infrastructure of a gun school.
Oh yeah.
With the exception of bunkhouses.
Which can easily be put up in no time.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, from an asset valuation standpoint, I want to keep the option open. You just never know. Like, let's just see what happens. So I don't want to lock myself in or lock myself out because, fucking 5 years ago, you were like, we got to fucking start doing video. We got to start doing podcasts. And I was like, fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Look at me now. I've just learned I vehemently do not want to do certain things, but I'm not going to limit my assets.
Yeah.
To keep from doing that. You just never know. So, so we got that out of the way. Dude, I tell you what, I was stressed as a motherfucker because it was just like, everybody wants to fucking pop off at the mouth, and it's like, let's just fucking have the goddamn meetings and see what happens before we want to go to war. Hey, here's an interesting story. HKVP9, right? We got them. They're ambi guns. What makes them fully ambi is they've got the ambi slide stops, and they've got the ambi mag release.
Yep.
And most guns, handguns, the problem is mag releases with push buttons. If you make them ambi, the push button gets to be so large. If the gun gets compressed in a holster or in tight or rolling around or even just bending over, or I've seen it, people holding flashlights or even with their grip, sometimes they'll end up inadvertently dropping the mag out of the gun or dislodging the magazine enough that the gun won't function.
Yeah.
Well, H&K has that lever. And so, I'm not a big H&K fanboy, but we were really interested in the H&Ks and the ergonomics. I was like, let's play with it. I was like, I really like this gun. It's pretty interesting.
I'll tell you what, the lever that you're referring to was I'm so used to it now. I don't know if I'd want to go back. I don't know if I'd want to go to a button.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
I know that there's a VP option out there, but H&K
just leaked a gun. They're calling it where is it? H&K VP9-B. So basically it has an American style mag release.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like when I bought the first VP9 and I was playing with it, I grumbled about the levers because it was like, well, I don't have a fucking choice, but the ergonomics are good. Let me fucking try this. And what ended up happening was, from a real world standpoint, I had zero transition from a button to a lever because the way the lever's set up, with a button, you tend to kind of actually come in at an angle. You don't really come in at a straight 90 degrees. You kind of drop in at about like 35 degrees, even if you rock the gun in your hand, if you break your grip and hit your mag release. Well, the thing is, you hit the levers at the same fucking angle. It actually makes no difference. When I hear somebody say, I could never get used to a lever because I'm used to a button, I know they've never fucking even tried to work that fucking lever, even because it just doesn't even make a difference. Well, here's the thing. H&K's come out with this B button, and just like what you just said, I'm like, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to go back.
Yeah, neither would I. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like buttons, and I've got several that, actually all of them, other than the VP9, have buttons. And I mean, they're fine, but I don't know with the VP9. I'm just so used to the lever on the trigger guard that I would not want to trade my current VP9 for one with a button. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I like a huge upgrade.
And you know what? I mean, it's ambi. I can dump the mag, right-handed or left-handed. It works.
It's easy to actuate with your thumbs. If you need to shoot right-handed, left-handed, weak hand, strong hand, or all this other kind of crazy shit you're doing. But because it's a lever, if you get into squirrely positions with your weak hand, you can easily hit it with other fingers.
Dude,
it's so easy.
When I dump my mag, I usually use my I don't know, the baby finger, the last finger on your hand.
No, wow. See, I normally, like, if I'm doing left-handed shooting, I don't use if I don't want to use my thumb to drop it, the mag release on that side, because it's an ambi safety, I can use both sides still. I'm not locked in. Because it's a lever, I can use my trigger finger, but basically what ends up happening is whatever finger I can get down on that lever, typically it's like my left ring finger or my left middle finger will drop down and hit that lever. Just whatever fucking finger gets down there, bam, and it's out. And we're moving. And I'm telling you what, that is a significant upgrade to handguns, that lever.
I love it. I mean,
and it's going to be really interesting to see if the VP9-B, the American VP9, or whatever they're going to call it, if there's going to be all these people that will buy it now because, you read shit on the internet all the time. People are like, I'd buy that gun if it had a fucking real mag release. But you know what? You see a lot of people that say bullshit like, I'd buy an FG42 semi-automatic. It's $5,000, and SMG's not selling that many of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people that say bullshit on the internet that don't do it. And I wonder if it's going to be really interesting. Is the B button going to get people into the VP9 so they get used to it? And then I'm like, well, let me try that lever. Here, shoot my gun. They try the lever and they start going, that's interesting. So all they're changing is the lever, not the gun. And they start opening their eyes to the lever. I'm real curious if it's, or maybe like the VP9 will become the most popular handgun in America and displace clock because of the button. I don't know. I mean, who fucking knows? But it's smart that H&K's finally doing shit that Americans want.
Look, here's the thing. I'm glad they're coming out with a version with a button.
Absolutely.
Because that's what Americans want. Most Americans don't like the European style lever. And honestly, again, when we first, got into the VP9s, and I ran, well, the first VP9 that you purchased, I ran, I did a 600 round function test on that gun. And it was like, it was kind of weird using the lever, because it was the first time I'd shot that particular gun, and, it was weird. But man, now that I've been shooting and carrying the VP9 for several years now, I'm so used to it. I mean, man, I really wouldn't want to go to a button platform. And again, it's not that I'm opposed to button platforms. I like them. All my other guns have them, but I just, on this particular gun, I'm used to it. I like it. It doesn't it's not an issue. Mag changes are quick. I mean,
the only problem the VP9 has is it doesn't hold enough bullets for its size. Someone needs to fucking fix those magazines.
Yeah, totally agree with you on that. I mean, the
goddamn Beretta can get 17 rounds. Goddamn Beretta can get 17 rounds in a fucking magazine. Bullshit, somebody can't get 17 rounds in a fucking P30 mag.
Totally.
That isn't as big as a fucking baseball bat.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, that, because it pisses me off. But you know what? H&K, it's smart of them to do it, because what happens is people don't like to buy guns, and then within 5 years or 10 years, that gun's, quote, no longer supported, and like the mags start drying up and shit disappears. That's one of the reasons why Glock is so successful. They have never changed their mag design. Now, there's going to be people who be like, yes, they have. Oh, no, they've upgraded and made tweaks around the edges. But, you know, you generally can take a Glock mag. There's a few exceptions, and I'm aware of them, but they're pretty rare. You can take a Glock mag out of one gun and put it in any other same caliber gun, and it'll fucking load and feed.
Yeah.
And, you know, and H&K decided we're married to the P30 magazine. We have so many of these guns out there.
And I mean, look, you know, am I happy about the 15 round capacity? No, I'm not. But you know what? I do like the fact that a P30 mag will fit into the VP9 and vice versa. You know, I mean,
yeah.
You know,
so you know, if someone like Mekgar, somebody come out with upgraded magazines, and I can't help but feel at least they can get one more goddamn round in that gun. I mean, they can get it to 16.
They could easily get 2 rounds in that without it being obnoxious.
I mean, even if they have to put a bigger base plate on the bottom, like just a little bit. But the thing is, like all those aftermarket base plates, you know, I've got a plus whatever. I tell you what, the ones I've seen are just fucking flaming turds. I'm like, there's no fucking, I don't want to go into it, but it's like, there's just no way. You carrying that on the fucking street, you are retarded. I mean, it's like you're really asking for fucking trouble, because you're going to pull that magazine out one day and that thing's going to be snapped off. It's crazy. So. Yeah. Speaking of which, because you're a SIG fanboy, did you hear? Well, SIG's been doing a lot lately. SIG's had a busy week, but I thought this was interesting. SIG Sauer, SIG USA, they have come out with a new version. It's not for public consumption, but a new version of the SIG P320 / M17, probably the M17. It's the M. Does it have safeties on it? Oh, wait a minute. M17. Did you hear about this new version of the 320?
No.
This does the one.
I might have. I don't know. I've been.
SIG has come out with a gun for the old guard at Arlington.
Oh yeah. I did hear about that. Yeah, and man, I tell you what, I like it.
It's it's like, is it chrome plated or what is this? Army, let's see, SIG Sauer has announced they will present the U.S. Army's old guard. I knew a guy that actually was on that. With special ceremonial versions of the U.S. Army's new M17 modular handgun system. If you ever wonder what a more traditional non-polymer M17 might look like, now you have some ideas. SIG will present the U.S. 3rd Infantry Regiment, who provides the guards for the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, with 4 specially made engraved ceremonial M17s. The pistols have an aluminum grip frame and steel slide. Small wooden inserts have been added to the grip, and the whole pistol is highly polished.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, SIG chose to give the ceremonial pistols the 21-round extended magazine, which also have an aluminum base, incorporating an engraving of the names of the Greek figures featured on the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. The slide serrations take the form of an XXI, which is Roman numeral signal. It's 21. 21 steps it takes for the tomb sentinels to walk by the tomb, and the military honor guard 21 gun salute. So I'm looking at the press release photograph of this gun.
Yes.
This gun does not have the U.S. Army thumb safeties on it. But it's all metal.
Yeah, and check this out. The wood grips, the custom wood grips on it were made from wood from the USS Olympia. And basically the Olympia was the ship that transported the remains that are in the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers over here to the U.S. Yes,
I did not know that.
I mean, it's like, is it a big deal? Kind of, no, but it's pretty freaking cool though. Man, they went all out on this, and
it is cut for the red dot sight plate. I mean, you could, if you had one of these guns and you were like, I'm putting a red dot on it, you just have to unscrew the plate. These are cut. These are literally 320s. Yeah, they're metal. I don't think they have. I don't think they have rails on them.
No,
the pictures do not show rails.
No rails.
How much this gun weighs?
Man, I don't know, but there's not that many of them.
I have a theory about this gun, by the way. It's a theory, and it's a wild-ass theory, but it's a theory.
Okay.
So, I remember hearing, the Hudson H9, right? Boy, those have kind of fallen off the radar, haven't they?
Yeah.
They were talking about their design and having to deal with existing patents and technology. And one of the things they had said was, because I guess they have a modular design where I don't know exactly how they're doing it, because I haven't even ever held an H9 Hudson. But, it's like the receiver, the serialized part is basically something that's inside the frame, kind of like the 320, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, Steyr has the patent on that for polymer frames. And Hudson was like, well, we can't do a polymer because Steyr has the patent, so we have to do it in a metal gun. And the question has always been, when is Steyr going to sue SIG unless SIG is paying royalties to them for the use of this technology? I don't know what the current status of that is. But all of a sudden, it's like, here's a metal 320. That's interesting. Well, here's the other question. Is this 320, I'm looking at it. Which side of the 320 has the window showing the insert? I don't know if I've seen you know what? Oh my God, dude, I'm only seeing the left side of this gun. Isn't the right side of the gun the one that shows the relief window for the serial number? Well, here's the thing. I don't see any relief window on the two pictures or the same side of the gun. I wonder if this gun's even, quote, modular.
It may not be.
I wonder what's going on there.
Here's the thing. I bet it's not modular because these are pretty much made for the guards. It's more of a ceremonial pistol. So it's not really made to be modified. So I would be willing.
Who tooled up to make this frame? Did they farm it out to a machine shop and gave them the specs, and they just CNC'd a handful of them out? Because anyway, there's 4 being presented. There's more than 4 made.
Well, I'd imagine SIG probably did it. They have a manufacturing facility in New Hampshire. They probably just, tooled it up and made it themselves.
That's interesting.
Why not?
Will we see a metal 320?
Actually, you know what? Wow, here's a cool picture. The guns are named, Unity, Respect, and whatever.
No, I didn't know that. Well, I don't. It's the
Dignity, Dignity, Respect, Silence, and
it's the motto of the old guard at Arlington.
Yeah. Well, okay. on the bottom of the frame, where the serial number plate would be, like on the BP9 in front of the trigger guard, is where that's engraved.
Is there a number with it as well, or is it like Dignity 1?
Nope, it's just the names.
I wonder, if it's ceremonial, I wonder if these guns actually even function.
Oh, I would imagine they do.
You know what? I never asked my buddy that was with the old guard. I never asked him this, but the M14s that they carry at the tomb, I think it was like when I was there, it was M14s. Are those functional?
I don't know.
See, in my heart of hearts, I would like to believe they, even if they're not loaded because they're flipping them around, that somewhere in like somebody's pocket, motherfuckers got 20 ready to rock in case some hippie makes a run at the tomb. I just would like to think that I just, I don't know how practical that is from the real world, but in the fantasies of my American fantasies of patriotism, I'd like to think that somebody's ready just in case to at least give a little bit of pain. But you know what? Those guns, they may not even be ceremonial, may mean really ceremonial. These may not even be functioning guns, dude.
Yeah, maybe.
Which would explain why. No serial number.
I have no clue.
Yeah. Well, the 320, the serial number doesn't go where you said it would. Where you said it goes on the VP9. The 320 doesn't even have a serial number there anyway because it's got that little insert and there's a window. So
yes,
but whatever. So look, we've been going almost an hour. I don't even know how to fucking cover this. And I don't mean to curse, but it's just so disgusting. The story of the army and the 6.8, the 6.8 caliber.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's still experimental. I don't think they're anywhere near. A bunch of stories broke yesterday, I think, the day before. I was in meetings, and so I couldn't really comment on it, but I published it. The Army's been experimenting with some kind of 6.8 caliber that, as of yet, I've heard nobody's saying what it is. It's PC. People assume it's 6.8 SPC or 6. I don't know 6.8 whatever. Maybe 6.5 Grendel, or they don't know, but apparently Army is playing with a 6.8, and it's like possibly as a service rifle round.
Yeah, I doubt it. I didn't pay too much attention to it. I mean, the Army plays with shit all the time. I don't see it going anywhere. I think they, they're playing with it, but they play with shit all the time. I
looked at it like this, because again, I don't want to get in front of this and say shit that we just don't even know. Because look, dude, we've seen this, I've seen this 100 times as old as we are. This shit's coming. This is the new thing, and then they cancel it. But let's just say hypothetically, just for argument's sake, hey everybody, Private Snuffy, here's your 6.8. Everybody's getting a 6.8. The gun community. So I guess we're part of that gun community. It's like, well, what happens to us? Here's the thing. I don't see a reason why I don't see a reason why any of us would even change from 5.56. I mean, unless you're training with somebody and they're coming through, that you need that caliber, because some people will convert. But here's the thing. If you're a 5.56 guy and let's say NATO drops the 5.56, I'm in my late 40s. Okay. All that means to me is for the next 30 or 40 years, basically for the rest of my life, there's going to be cheap, surplus, high quality 5.56 ammo coming out on the market. I'm good, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're 20, if you're 15 years old, you might have to deal with 6.8, but grandpa here, fuck you. I don't need to dick with it. I may get one at some point, but it's like, fucking dude, all my guns are 5.56. And, as a civilian, even if Antifa takes over the country, I'm going to have a really hard time justifying taking a shot at someone behind 300 yards. And 5.56 can shoot well beyond 300 yards if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, this isn't like the end of the world. Like, we've all seen this happen. 30-06 went to 308. 308 went to 5.56. Okay, 5.56 went to whatever. Remember all that Malaysian 308 ammo that came into the country? not that long ago, or, you know, like the Greek 308, or like you'll see Ethiopian 308. It's like, well, yeah, all that happened because somebody switched calibers. If you're a high volume gun guy in the United States, a caliber switch like this is good news for you. And within like the near term, like over the next decade, 15 years, that's good news for you because there's stockpiles of this shit everywhere.
Yeah, and who doesn't like cheap surplus ammo to feed your addiction?
Yeah, I mean, now 40, 50 years from now, it's going to be an issue, but it's a real common caliber. But it's like, yeah, I mean, this is, you know, for the shooters in this country, you know, like imagine if all of a sudden, like, you know, let's say, for example, every major city police department over the next decade dumps their 5.56 guns for a 6.8 caliber gun because, you know, they deal with the feds, they've got fed programs, sometimes they train at federal facilities. There's commonality ammo, supply, you know, all this kind of stuff. All that 5.56 ammo is going to go somewhere. All that supply is going to go somewhere. It's actually I think it's going to help the 5.56 guys for the next, you know, I mean, here's the thing. They will bury my ass in a casket filled with 5.56 brass because it'd be so much of it. It's awesome for me.
But look, the military's not switching to 6.8 or anything like that.
I don't believe it either.
You know, yeah, it's not happening.
I don't. You know, look, they've never been happy. General Miley, they've never been happy about the engagement ranges in Afghanistan because, you know, they've had issues because, you know, people knew that they could outrange the 5.56 with different, you know, some of these non-standard Russian weapons, and so the Taliban guys could stand off farther away. So the only way they could realistically shoot back is either call in air support or the one guy with a, you know, a heavy caliber weapon that can shoot farther. And also in Army's defense, they're looking at the future. And this is where all the civilians get this wrong. If let's say 70, 80% of the world's population is going to live in a city within the next 100 years or 50 years or 60 years. And we have these mega cities. So if we're going to be having major wars that aren't going to be nuclear wars, the chances of an Army unit having to engage in significant urban combat in a mega city is exceptionally high. And here's the thing. So a lot of people listening to this are like, well, yeah, 300 yards is no problem. Go to Paris, go to New York, go to any of these major cities, stand on the sidewalk, look to your left, look to your right, and you're not even up 2 or 3 floors. How many yards can you see down the road? It's far. You could have engagement ranges in these cities that are not 75 yards. This whole idea of the urban cop that only shoots 75 yards is a myth. It's a myth that won't die.
Well,
and Army's worried about it.
Well, until it actually happens, you know, you're not going to convince anyone differently.
Yeah. You know, it's just one of those, you know, look, I give Army credit here because, look, we look at it from gun nerds, and look, Army's in the business of win wars, not make gun nerds happy. You know, and you should prepare to fight the next war, not the last war. So I'm glad that they're always looking at this stuff. You know, whatever they do, if it affects us, it'll affect us. It's fine. It's no big deal. Hey, remember how we were talking about the crime in California and how all these people keep robbing all these Apple stores?
Apple stores, yes.
You know, like all these bullshit policies about crime in California and open borders, they have all these problems where these Apple stores, you'll be in an Apple store and like 25 people will run in, sometimes with weapons, baseball bats, and they'll swarm a store and rob the store. It's becoming because you can get, you can walk out with $100,000 worth of shit. Well, it's gotten so bad, Apple has now hired police officers to guard their stores in California.
Isn't that wonderful?
I just thought that was interesting because, here's the thing. All these hippies in California, like let's say, for example, Cher. Cher. Do you believe in love or whatever her songs are? Do you
we don't want to bring up Cher right now. Did you hear the latest on her?
the dope in her house. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
That was wonderful.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Yeah. When your house is so big, you don't even realize you have a drug den in the front of it. So that's a big ass fucking house. But,
Yeah.
but Cher, all these people, like, do you think when Cher wants a new iPhone, do you think Cher goes to the Apple store?
No.
No. She doesn't have to go there and worry if something's going to happen.
No.
But the point is, Apple realizes they're starting to get a reputation. If you're at the Apple store in California, it's like being at the fucking bank. Somebody could come in, and it's like, oh shit. But I think it's funny how, like, the media reports this kind of stuff, but they don't connect the dots. You have all this crazy crime in, like, Portland. The Antifa takes over the roads, but it's not a mob. But the reason this happened is because we're not enforcing the law, and we're giving them space to riot. Like the woman in Baltimore said. So I just thought that was interesting. Hey, we got two more things. We've been going long, and we were going to talk about some other stuff, but I guess two things.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about a hunting thing, and then I'm going to talk about a cold case file that's finally been solved. You said, I remember one time you were like, what's the worst injury you've ever had when you were hunting? Like, didn't you say a deer almost kicked you in the head because it ran over your blind one time? Is that the closest you've come to being hurt?
Yeah, I actually damn near had my brains kicked out. I wasn't in a blind. I was actually hunting on a hillside, out halfway down a hillside, and I was sitting in like a little sinkhole, and a bunch of deer came down, from above me, and they came hopping down the hill, and they didn't know that I was there. And one deer jumped over me, and it actually knocked my hat off my head.
That probably cracked your skull.
Oh man, deer hooves are sharp as hell, man.
Oh my God, a deer will fuck you up. People if you ever see somebody fight with a deer, people don't realize this. Like, a deer will stand up, and it'll take its hooves and it'll jab like a boxer, and like it'll fucking cut you.
Yeah. So yeah, I almost had my brains kicked out by a deer.
There's an unfortunate. I hope this guy didn't die, because I don't have the latest on it. So I'm gotta be careful here. Like, look, it's one of those things. Like, if he survives and walks away, we can all laugh. But you know what I mean? It's like, somebody gets hurt. Somebody gets hurt, and everyone goes to the hospital, and he's in there talking to the doctor, and the doctor's like, hey, you're going to be fine. You're like, oh fuck, don't tell my buddies. They're going to start laughing at me. Tell them I'm going to die. So here's what happened in Alaska. Two soldiers, at least one soldier, two hunters were hunting for bear above Carter Lake, which is 100 miles south of Anchorage. They're pretty far south. And what happened was, I didn't say if it was a brown bear or if it was a black bear, but they shot at a bear that was above them on this cliff or hillside. The bear falls, and it's not clear that either when the bear fell and dislodged a bunch of rocks, it's not clear. Some reports say the bear hit the hunter when it fell down the cliff, or a rock hit the hunter. But the hunter was critically injured. I think he was life flighted.
Really?
Yeah, it's bad.
Well, brown bears get pretty damn big now.
Oh, black bears get big. A black bear. Fucking black bear can be 400 pounds.
Yeah, but
300. A 400-pound animal comes rolling off a cliff and hits you. It's gonna break your shit.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was. I'd never. Sometimes that happens. People get hurt hunting. It's like, oof.
Hey man, freak accidents happen. You know. It's. I know you. it's a standard internet argument that, oh, that would never happen to me. It's the old ND argument.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's no such thing as an accidental discharge, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? Never say never. Shit happens, and you can be the safest hunter out there.
I'll tell you what, there was a story a few weeks ago, and I was going to mention it, but we got busy. There was a guy, he was in his 70s, and he was in a deer stand, and he was wearing a harness. So he was totally
down.
He somehow fell out of his stand and was upside down in the stand. And I don't know, did they say he was in the stand for like 2 days?
Yeah, it was like he was like hanging in this tree upside down for like 2 days.
Yeah, I believe what they said is I don't know if he may have passed, but when they finally got to him, like realized there was a problem, they found him. I guess his brain had swelled so much, they put him in a coma, medically induced coma, to try to treat him. Like he was in critical condition for being hanging upside down.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, that kind of stuff happens, Anyway, because I want to end on a kind of a light note and a funny note. So, I think that we all have an obligation and a duty, civic duty, to help solve crime in this country, to try to, we live in a safe world. And did you know that the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln was an open case?
Actually, I heard it was solved.
It is now solved. So, here it is. Man turns himself in to the FBI for killing Abraham Lincoln in 1865. So here we go. Washington, D.C. A man from Virginia turned himself in at the FBI headquarters this morning, claiming that he was guilty of killing more than 30 people, including the 16th president of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. Oh, man, his name. 71-year-old Leroy Timothy Anderson. They say serial killers always have 3 names.
Well, he's a time-traveling assassin.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even see that part. 71-year-old Leroy Timothy Anderson claims he worked for 35 years as a time-traveling assassin. Oh, wait a minute, I have questions. If you're a time-traveling assassin, couldn't you have only worked for like a minute?
Hey, he's a time traveler. He can make up his own rules.
Okay, so I guess he wanted his 35 years in so he could get his retirement. So, okay. It claims he worked for 35 years as a time-traveling assassin for a secret government agency. It's always a secret government agency. And says he has killed people in various times, going from 1678 to 2239. Here's the thing. Why the last, why is it 789? So anyway, the elderly man declared that his actions were all legitimate and ordered by the government, but that he fears his former employers might want to eliminate him because he knows too much. Where they could come back in time and kill him right before he turns himself in. He claims that he was part of a program called the Kronos Project, which was designed, coordinated, and executed by the United States Central Intelligence Agency and the United States Special Operations Forces under the supervision of Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, as we all know it as. This ultra-secret program would have orchestrated more than 1,200 assassinations, spreading out over almost all of human history, including many famous characters like Martin Luther King Jr., Julius Caesar, Mahatma Gandhi. Oh, God.
Man,
so apparently apparently when they say your name is Mud, that's wrong. Apparently your name is Leroy.
Dude, I love that story.
Oh, time-traveling assassin.
Dude, because when I grow up, I want to be a time-traveling assassin.
Yeah. I mean, look.
Who doesn't?
Wasn't there a TV show called Time Bandits or a movie some years ago?
Yeah, there was, Time Bandits. Yeah, that was, I guess, in the late 80s, maybe, something like that.
Well, you know what? Let's give that story, which is obviously ridiculous. That story is ridiculous, okay? They've got, dude, we've got his full name. We've got his motivations. We've got where he lives. We've got his purported, time travel exploits, the agencies he supposedly worked for, his hopes, his fears, his dreams. We know everything about this. We have a photograph of his mugshot. We know everything about this motherfucker. That's fine. It's a funny story. Yesterday or the day before, the FBI arrested a guy in Hudson Valley, New York. He was assembling a bomb for a suicide bombing on Election Day.
Yeah.
And they won't say anything else about him other than his motivation because he didn't like the direction of the country. That's funny. If he was an NRA Trump supporter, he would be Leroy motherfucking Jenkins III.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I particularly like in the article that I read how the officials said that there were no lives would have been in danger. The dude had 8 pounds of black powder, and I think the bomb he was constructing, I think they said weighed like either 100 or 200 pounds.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, but no lives would have been in danger. Oh, screw you.
If the bomb he was constructing, it was a car bomb. If it weighed 200 pounds, it's a car bomb. He wasn't going to show up somewhere lugging 200 pounds in a backpack. He's not a ranger.
Well, I mean, I can just go by what the article said. They said he had planned on detonating it inside of a mall, which means.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
But that doesn't mean he couldn't have put it in a piece of travel luggage with wheelies on it.
Yeah. And there isn't a peep about what this guy's motivations are.
Oh, no.
Well, he didn't like the direction of the country. I guess he wants to set a bomb off in the middle of a mall on Election Day because, quote, he's tired of winning, right? Is that it?
Yeah.
He's tired of Trump's winning. I'm sure he's a fucking Republican.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the whole point of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Time traveler, har. That's fucking hilarious. This goddamn story, these leftists, dude, it's getting way out of control.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, you got Eric Holder basically telling, advocating violence, and he's going to make
fucking Hillary Clinton did it.
Yeah.
Sarah Sanders has fucking Secret Service protection. I think Rand Paul finally came out and said he fears a political assassination.
Yeah, I heard that.
You and I talked about this. The left is so batshit crazy about the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
I'm afraid for those dudes. There's women now. I'm afraid for them. The Supreme Court isn't that big of an organization. They don't have a presidential protective detail like the executive branch does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What happens the day Donald Trump isn't in office and it's a Democrat? And what happens to an aging Republican that's, he's out to dinner and maybe some lefty decides to even the score? Or heaven forbid, dude, we got to be legit. Some crazy right-winger decides Ruth Bader Ginsburg needs to, it's just crazy. This is the media is so culpable in trying to cover all this up. I don't even know. This is so out of control. And, you got all these people making public statements, like Madonna. I remember when Trump got elected, Madonna got up there, she's on a microphone and she's being hyperbolic. She's like, I have to admit, sometimes I have whatever she said, fantasies or dreams or whatever of blowing up the White House, whatever her bullshit phrase was. And heaven forbid 6 months later somebody goes in and does something in a Trump hotel. But it's like, what's going to happen is it's a miracle. The only reason, this hasn't even hit like a total crisis point is the congressional baseball team, none of the victims died, but Steve Scalise is a gimp now. I mean, you see that fucker walk around, it's like, holy shit.
Well, you know, the left is so out of control right now. It's amazing. And I'm telling you what, something bad's going to happen. And when it does, the left they're going to be holding their dicks in their hand going, wait a minute. No, we didn't say any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You know, Don Lemon's on his rag station, lambasting anyone who calls the Portland mob a mob. You know, and
is he doing that now too? I know RBF was doing it.
Yeah, and it's just like, stop covering up for these lunatics.
Yep. So now we can't call mobs a mob because, you know, political correctness.
You can't call a mob a mob anymore because they're just exercising their free right to protest.
Yeah, and, you know, pull old men out of their Lexus.
Yeah.
It's bad, you know. I mean, oh, by the way, give up your guns.
Yeah, like that's going to happen.
Yeah, you know, just remember, Mitt Romney was the devil, and so was Kavanaugh. But apparently, all these guys, they're great.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they're just exercising their constitutional right to burn down your place of business. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I didn't say that out
loud. All right. Well, this wraps up episode 110 of the John 1911 podcast. If you want to see some stories or some links or photographs of the stuff we discussed, go to our website, john1911.com, and we'll have it all in the comment section. That's JOHN1911.com. Remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun. Everybody, have a good day.
See you later.